GM. So, my Discord has actually brought this to my attention where on July 10th, it's what you can see right now, it's on Bilibili, and the Chinese content creators managed to sit down with, the producer Jack from Etheria Restart and talk about, some Q&As. And because, it's in Mandarin and I can speak it, I thought that I watched the entire thing and tell you what transpired throughout that entire Q&A. So without further ado, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just talk about what kind of questions were asked and how was Jack's response. And you can just see, in the background as, I play it muted because, copyright and all that kind of stuff. But that's what I will be doing. So there were 8 questions in total that were asked, okay? And the first one that they asked was, why is the progression, so freaking difficult? All right, like players will hit a wall and then they just drop off immediately, right? And is it really that fun playing, grinding for PvE, for the gears and stuff like that? And Jack basically said that, PvE and PvP, they're supposed to go hand in hand, right? Your PvE is supposed to be challenging and specific, and very, very, strategic in that sense. And your PvP units are usually, animuses that you train yourself. You don't use it to, try to clear PvE. And so, if you can get a good strategy for your PvE, eventually you're going to have, enough stat lines for your PvP units and the gears for your PvP units, because you're not going to be using like, a PvP unit to go and farm PvE. And that's the basically idea where they are trying to balance that. Is it perfect? He said that it's not, and it's something that they're always looking for players' data and player feedback. Okay? The second question that was asked was the gear dungeon difficulty spike. Now, we've all been through this, okay? We all know that, from Hell 3 and Hell 4, it's, the difficulty is normal, it's very linear. And then the second you hit Inferno, it's like, fuck, this is way too difficult, right? And these CN players tested the game and they also found the same problem. And so they asked, why is, the gear dungeon difficulty so ridiculous in terms of, difficulty spike? And basically Jack's answer was, he said that you're not the first people to know about it because there was 15,000 replies in the thread for the Discord and they read through everything, okay? But the thing that, he said was people were trying to clear this game within 5 days of launch. Like, that's not going to happen, especially when he said that, this entire game took them about 5 years to develop, and if you're trying to beat it in 5 days, something's wrong. Okay? And so, your near endgame stuff, or your modules, comes from Hell 3 and Hell 4, right? The second you can touch Hell 3, you get eventually moved to Hell 4, and you can already get endgame gear, which is basically, just your red pieces with 3 matrix modules, right? And then from there, you will eventually be able to slowly creep your way into Inferno. Okay? And he basically said just be patient, right? Patience usually will just make Inferno easier, and I can attest to that. My first 2 Blessing Galore event, I couldn't really do Inferno, right? And even if I was doing Inferno, it's only 1 star. But now I'm clearing Inferno in under a minute, and that's been, 2.5 months, right? And so I was more patient, and I definitely see where they are going with it because I was patient and I didn't try to, force my way into Inferno. Okay, and that's what I can see, right? Question 3 that they asked was, the Inferno difficulty jump, which we talked about. And the way they mentioned was, think about it as a linear curve from 1 to 100, okay? From normal all the way to Hell 4, it's like going up the levels, right? 1 to 100. But the spike from Hell 4 to Inferno is like going from, level 100 to level 560. That's what they said in this video. Okay, and that is something that they were wondering. There was like no visual warning that this is going to be ridiculously difficult. And he said, well, he understands that this is, their fault. They should have done something about it, right? And even, in the other talk that they have with, Vulcan and Sean B and all that, and Janizat, he did say that it was a bit of a mistake releasing Inferno so early, right? And I can definitely see that, but it's already there. It's already there, okay? Can it be frustrating? He acknowledges it's going to be frustrating, but it's already there. That's basically what he answered, right? Question 4 is about the the stamina loss, okay? And he's just asking, you know, why is there, you know, stamina loss in PvE, sorry. And he said it's just mainly to, you know, block bot farming. Alright, and it's not perfect, but it's a necessary trade-off. Alright, so this is something simple. Question 5 was about the roster expansion and the gacha anxiety, where the CN players asked, you know, that there is about 50 units now for them. Okay, that's what they tested with. What we realistically have is about 64 right now. And Jack said that they are planning to double it. And then they counted us, and wouldn't that just cause, you know, like gacha anxiety? And he said, they basically are going to give you enough resources so that Free-to-Play can also build multiple full teams. And if you really think about it, they are quite generous in giving out your summons. Like I did the Wishbinder event, I summoned, and I still have, you know, 100 and something pulls left, which basically means I can do at least 1 to 2 pities, right? And as a free-to-play player, that's basically what you're going to be getting as well. And that's not something that is going to be causing a lot of gacha anxiety. And another thing that they brought about was the units are not going to be very, how do I say, power crept. It's more of a different style of play. So even if you don't have the unit, you're not missing out. For example, like, you know, we all know what Lilium can do now. She can usually two-shot a boss. But if you have the thing can also do the same thing, right? And the powerful items in this game, the items, that's what they said here. The powerful items are not grindable. I mean, they are grindable, sorry, but they're not paywalled, right? So think about, you know, your light cones in HSR, your artifacts in Epic 7, right? All of those stuff, you know, you got to pay to get it, right? But in this game, you can just grind for it, which is your shells. You can just grind for the shells. Eventually, you will get it. It's a matter of when, right? It's not a matter of if. And so question 6 was, because of that reason, how are they going to, you know, balance the game approach, right? The game balance, right? And so he asked, you know, is going to be buffs and nerfs going to be a regular thing in competitive games, or are they going to use a different model, which we see in other games, where they're just going to inflate other units and make other units power creep the old ones? And so Jack said that in a PvP specific game like theirs, like Etheria Restart, stat inflation is a dead end for them, right? And so new characters are just going to bring new tactics, not bigger numbers. That's basically the gist of what I'm getting out of Jack, which we all already know. They're planning to go for this very convoluted rock, paper, scissors meta. Think about, you know, if you watch Big Bang Theory, you know about rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, right? Same thing here, they are trying to do that. Alright, so you can bring certain units to counter certain units. Alright, but it's not if you bring A, then you must have B. You can use, you know, option C, which is like the middle way, and it can still answer option A. That kind of thing. Alright, and so they're not trying to power creep units, they're trying to bring newer tactics into the game. Alright, so it's going to look like this convoluted rock, paper, scissors, and I have a screenshot right here that you can see. Okay, and this is what they are trying to go for in terms of game balance. Question 7 that they asked was about compensation after nerf. And they asked whether, you know, you're going to give out compensation if you ever nerf a unit. And Jack basically agreed that they will definitely be doing compensation, and it does matter, right? But it is something that they are very, very careful about, because nerfing a unit sucks. Buffing a unit is always better, because when you nerf a unit, the golden standard is to give out a reset event, just in case, you know, people invested heavily into that unit, you nerf it, you can say, alright, I'll take all my resources back, go build the next good one. Okay? And so there are, you know, some adjustment plans in the works, but he can't reveal it yet. That's what he said. And the last question is just about the esports and tournaments. So like they basically asked if there's going to be more future competitive play. And Jack said that they already did a world regional qualifier, an EWS. They showed it off to, you know, the CN side, right? With, you know, it will be an annual global event with, you know, strong supports from, you know, smaller communities. So they will support, like, you know, what we are seeing, you know, the weekly PvP creators tournament viewers match thing, right? And basically, after hearing all of that, they said that, all right, the CN paid test, which is something we went through as well, you know, the paid beta, starts in August 28th. and the full release for China is going to come in September 25. Okay, so expect a lot more players coming into the game, especially from Asia side, and so that's going to be a fun time, right? But the takeaway here is we already know a lot of this stuff, but it's good to be hearing it again from Jack on the CN side, and this is the most important thing that I took out of this one, okay? They plan to double the roster. That means we are currently sitting at about 50 units for them, and they plan to double it, which means that they want to push to 100 animus as quickly as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised that the next one that's coming out, the next banner, is going to be a double banner, and it's going to be like that for a while until we hit 100 animus. Okay, a 100 roster pool, then they're going to slow down. That's what I think that they're going to do, and so save your summons, alright? Make sure you're just pulling for one copy of the unit. You don't have to go for multiple. They are going to come eventually, okay? And just pay attention to that. Alright? Especially for you free-to-plays. This is especially important for you guys. But that is the video, okay? Hopefully you enjoy what I just showed you guys here. And if you like the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you found value in the comments down below. Catch you guys in the next one.